everyone, and welcome to PodGis. Welcome back. Oh my God, welcome back. Wow. Wow. Has it been a minute? I don't know. I can't tell what I miss, what's been happening. Take a look around. Take a look at my apartment. It's a new apartment. Not much of an apartment. There's bugs in the oven. Look at this. Hey, if you're watching, eyes up, Toronto. Eyes up, world. If you're watching, hello and welcome back to the triumphant return of PodGis. And, take a look around at this new setting. I've been considering doing an aesthetic change, perhaps, given that I've had a FFS and given I moved, that's probably more relevant, but it's time for a new change in scenery. There's something about the lighting or this webcam that, I don't know, there needs to be a visual update, and this isn't it. This is more of a lateral move, purely because I moved from my old place to this new place. I live alone. I don't know if this is information that I should be telling y'all, but it's I'm putting it out there. It's there, and now you have it. Put it in your pocket. Save it for a rainy day. Save it for a rainy day. Save it for a rainy day. Oh yeah, we're incorporating music in PodGis now. Yep, PodGis has music now. Not just the theme song if you're listening to the video. You guys look over here. You got that guy over there. You got that guy over there. Which, I should tell you guys the origin story of my little statuettes over here. And I'll describe them for all the listeners. Don't worry. Basically, for all the listeners, it's a new dawn, a new era, a new place for me to move. I moved from the old place that I lived at for 15 years, and now here I am at New Casaval. Gonna say it like that every time. New Casaval. There used to be this commercial for that FX show American Gods, I believe. And I used to quote it all the time with one of my best friends because I always thought there's the one guy in that show who, how does the line go? In the commercial, I always thought it was so funny how he delivered it. He went, what was the first part of it? Oh, something along the lines of like, get your clothes on. We're going to rob a bank. And then he says it like that. It's like breathy, but he says it all in one syllable. It's all one word. We're going to rob a bank. Except the A part, he just really string cheeses it out. It's a big old string cheese. We're going to rob a bank. So that's what I'm going to try and say only as many times as my blood membrane in my brain will allow before I pass out. Because let me tell you, in the 3 times I've done it so far, lightheaded already. I've reached an age where if I sit on the toilet for too long, and if I doom scroll for too long, and I get up, lightheaded. Just like that. Boom, lightheaded. If I get out of bed too fast, boom, lightheaded. Especially if I have to pee, if I wake up in the middle of the night and I have to pee, guess what? Guess what, bitch? Now you have to pee. Now your bladder's about to explode, and you're lightheaded. Good luck fumbling around in the darkness with a light head. It's hard enough. I sleep in pitch black. You would think that in pitch blackness, it would all be the same. But when you're lightheaded as well, you are dizzy in the dark. Being dizzy in the dark is a strange experience. Because even in the dark, your feet flat against the ground are your best barometer, your best sensory indicator of the world around you. It's just you in touch with the earth, with the sod, with the soil, and then once you're lightheaded, that goes out of the fucking equation. Even though your bottoms of your feet couldn't be further from the tops of your head, body-wise. Why does that make any sense? You two parts of each other, you're communicating long distance. This is a long distance call. Why is it fucking up so hard? Well, I guess maybe it's fucking up so hard because you're on Wind Mobile. It's getting up in the middle of the night and getting up too fast and going to the bathroom in the pitch black darkness with a light head is like subscribing to Wind Mobile. That's for Canadians out there. I don't know, use whatever equivalent. Let's say I said AT&T. Ha 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 ha. So now a bitch is lightheaded all the time. We're gonna rob a bank. Where are we robbing the bank? Which bank? Casa de Val. So this is my new place, and isn't it so cool? So these are my little statuettes. That guy, there's a little gnome to my left, your right, viewers, and your whatever direction you want to imagine for all. This is where it's really the best for all of the listeners out there, because you can just imagine whatever you want now. I am turning into this little gnome. How about that? This gnome is sticking out of my puckered anus, which I am bending over to show the camera. For all those listening out there, that's the visual. Just go ahead, picture it. You're welcome. You're welcome. That almost seems unfair for me to do to my listeners, because I feel like anyone who is a fan of mine, partially because of my looks, if you think I'm cute, you're probably more inclined to watch the YouTube. But if you think if you don't even care how I look, and you're listening to the audio, and here I am, giving you a play-by-play of a little lawn gnome sticking out of my asshole, then who's that really for, really? You know? You're like, I got here to not listen to... I got here to just listen to the sultry, beautiful sounds of Ava's voice, and now I have to picture her spreading her cheeks and the little face of a gnome coming out. Hello! Hello, everyone! I like soccer. So this little gnome, don't you know, is this little football playing gnome. He's wearing a yellow shirt, a yellow hat, a tall pointy hat, and he's got a soccer ball lodged to his head. This is what's odd about this little piece, now that I'm looking at it. And he's wearing like little soccer socks and little cleats. He's dressed in a Brazil uniform. There's no crest or anything that would indicate that he is Brazilian, but it's the Brazil colors. It's their typical kit in soccer. But the ball, you see, is glued to his head in such a way, and he's not really doing an action move. It's not like he's actively heading the ball. It's just sort of there, like it's part of the hat, which leads me to believe that this gnome was made and crafted first, and then also like a subset of these gnomes were made with the glued soccer ball in their head to be like, all right, some of these are soccer gnomes now. You know, either that or... Thought I saw it move. Either that or the craftsman or woman. Craftsman or woman. Let's not forget. Women can craft. Women were the original crafters. Put your tampons up for the original women crafters. Put your tampons up, put them all the way to rafters. Women crafters. Get your rafters. If you think I'm being anti-feminist, I don't give a crafters. Toronto Raptors. Basketball chapters. Basketball champions. won 2002 to 2003. That's the chapter. Was that the year they won? I don't know. Okay, anyways, this lawn gnome. Basically, he was a gift in the year 2010? No. 2014? I believe 2014. A gift from my parents because they know I love soccer so much. And yeah, the World Cup was on in 2014. Yep. Yeah, that's when I got that. They just thought it was a cute thing to give me. How sweet. So I think about my mom and dad every time I see that thing. And I've thought about, sincerely, I've don't tell my parents this. I've thought about throwing it out, but then I don't because it's, it's a gift from my loving parents and just like, how cute, whatever, he's cute. You're cute, guy. And then behind him over there is an origami rhino statuette, which, long story short, my ex-girlfriend from long ago, we're talking 15 years ago, her family had a Chinese, what is it called? A Chinese auction for Christmas. And there were all kinds of great items, useful items, a lot of alcohol, a lot of useful, practical items. And then when this was uncovered, I, as a joke, made it clear to everyone in the room that I was obsessed with it. And come hell or high water, I was going to go home with that fucker. I just started doing a bit that this origami rhino, it is speaking to me. It is my muse. I must have it. And nothing will stand in the way of me bringing home this origami rhino statuette. And that's really that story. And honestly, my ex and I are on good terms. She just had a babe. She is with babe. And good for her. I sent her a congratulations. She's an awesome person. I'm cool with most of my exes. That's the thing. Not to, again, pivot to something and now for something completely different. If you talk a lot of shit about your exes, that's a bit of a red flag with me, okay? Now, I understand if a relationship or two falls apart, I get that, and it's not easy to end a relationship with somebody. Absolutely. I can acknowledge that. However, if every one of your exes was batshit crazy and insane and evil, then why do you want to date me? Sorry to take it personal, but what does that say about me? Because perhaps maybe possibly someday I might be your ex. And first of all, if you have a certain pattern in the women you find attractive, well, goddamn, what does that say about me? That now you are attracted to me as well. You're going to lump me in with all you other crazies? And secondly, not even taking it personally, setting that aside, it's like, the common denominator in all of this is Hugh. And I'm not just speaking to if this guy's name was Hugh, I mean you. It's Hugh. You're the common denominator, Hugh. So, I just, like, all of them were batshit crazy and evil. All of them. So two things. What does that say about your taste? And what does that say about me? That you're into me. And you want to date me. Okay? So that's the thing. Oh, and number 3, more sincerely and wholesomely, it's like, this is the way I see it. Everybody you dated, this might be a naive opinion, and I will put a disclaimer that I'm not including cases of like violence or domestic abuse or any kind of abuse or like gaslighters or whatever, like psychological, I don't know, narcissists or whatever. Because of course these things can sneak up on you and people can trick you into having the wrong impression about them, and then boom, before you know it, you're in a 5-year relationship with fucking Magneto, you know? But I've always held that your exes, in a way, actually are a reflection of who you were at the time, and who you are as a person. The same way that I do subscribe to this idea that you are basically the average of the 5 people you hang out with the most, slash the 5 like closest people in your life. I'll say that because you do spend a lot of time at work with people you don't like. For a lot of you 9 to 5ers, let's throw the first one out. You are the average of your 5 most cherished, precious loved ones. And again, I'm flexible on this, but the idea remains that the people you hold dearest to you are a reflection of who you are. The company that you keep reflects who the person that you are, you know? By the way, can you guys hear that? That's another thing. I'm not closing my window. Because it's hot as fuck in here. It's hot as balls. And that also unfortunately means that you guys are going to hear what's in the background. And I live right beside... Oh, I shouldn't give too many details. One of these days, I'm going to make a fan of like one of those crazy map autistic guys who know maps all around the world and who can Where's Waldo find anybody based on 3 of the smallest clues. I bet they could look at the interior of this and then drop a fucking floor plan and know that she lives in Toronto. That much is abundantly. I've made that clear. And then, you know, from there, I shouldn't say this. I shouldn't even say this stuff. I shouldn't even say this stuff because someone's going to actually do it. Anyways, if you can hear that, yeah. That would be one of the clues that they would use. God damn, this train is fucking loud. It's louder than the rest of them. Usually they're not this loud. Somebody grease those wheels. Jesus, yeah, I get it. You're a train. I get it. You're a train. Locomotive. Why don't you get some motive to grease those wheels? So that's all the dinging. Oh, here comes another one. That's all the dinging that you hear, and all the gasping and hydraulics sounding. These are trains. I live close to a train station, and I got used to it very quickly. That's all. I mean, besides the loudest fucking train in the entire station just passing by, the rest of the time it's like that vague dinging. It's not annoying to me. It's nice. And if only you guys could see this view. I have the best view. I live pretty high up. And this view of Toronto is just superb. There you go. For all the people listening, that wasn't me. That was the gnome climbing out of my spread ass cheeks. I'm staying hydrated because it's hot as balls in here. And look at this makeup, though. You know? Look at this makeup. I did a good job. I auditioned. I submitted an audition today. And I forgot to share that with my agent. Oh, geez. I uploaded it to Drive and I forgot to share it with her. Silly me. I'll do that first thing once we're done here. Yeah, guys. Quick shameless plug. I'm doing Instagram subscribers. So if you want even more exclusive access to Ava Val, I decided I give away so much for free, and a lot of personal stuff for free, as I have indicated throughout this entire fuckery of a pod. And so I decided to give away the personal stuff, the more intimate stuff, the more vulnerable stuff behind a paywall. Because, if Ava's gonna run her mouth anyways and be a little bit too oversharey, then she might as well make a couple dollars out of it. You know what I'm saying? Props. Hit me. Yeah, bitch. Sorry, I didn't mean to call you a bitch. I didn't mean to call you that. I don't mean it. Let's see. What else? The move was good. The move was swift. Yeah, I'm all settled in. I didn't have to compromise my favorite luxuries, my king-size bed, and my 75-inch TV. This is all just me procrastinating, memorizing a speech that I have to give in 2 days that I finished a long time ago, but I haven't looked at it yet. So, it should be easy. Look at this. I've been fucking blabbing for 22 minutes, and I already know what's in the content of the speech. I just have to get it in order. That's all. And by the time I had my shit together today, I realized it was like fucking 8 p.m. And it's like all the coffee shops are closed. And that's where I wanted to do all my focused fucking reading and listening and planning and memorizing and studying. But I have the full day tomorrow. And baby, I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to leave my phone. I'm leaving my phone. I'm leaving it here in the apartment. And I'm going to go find a coffee place. I'm going to sit down with my script. And I'm just going to knock that shit out. That's what I'm going to do, baby. That's what I'm going to do, baby. Let's see. Okay. Let's pivot to, God. Yeah, I'm not going to, part of me wants to talk politics. Not going to talk politics. Maybe a little. For anybody listening out there, apparently, according to the FBI, this is the face of violent psychosis. This is the face of violent nihilistic terrorism. Nihilism is one of the things. Look, let me find the specific wording for this, just so I don't get it wrong. Okay. FBI trans. I'll just type that in. Law enforcement and transgender communities. Do trans people have a right to exist? The autonomy. That's always nice. That's always nice to see, isn't it? What a normal existence. What a normal series of conversations that I can look up FBI trans, and the fifth result is a link to a Substack in which the title says, "Do trans people have a right to exist?" Isn't that nice? Whether it's satirical or not is irrelevant. The fact that even the question needs to be asked to begin with really indicates just how fucking ridiculous these conversations are. Trans nihilism. FBI to categorize trans people, all trans people, myself included, as nihilistic, violent, extremist threat. Hey guys, let's scroll through, if you have enough time, FBI, I'll speak to you directly. Why don't you do me a favor and go ahead and listen to my entire podography. Every single episode, every single second. Why don't you give that all a listen, comb carefully through every single fucking thing that I have said, over all of these years. And I dare you to come back with anything that remotely points to my set of ideologies as nihilistic, as violent, or as extremist. Please, have at her, go to town, do your worst. Oh, well, I shouldn't say that because I know that your worst is you guys are just going to make some shit up about me and then spread misinformation. And then, I won't be able to catch up to it because people salivate too much at the idea of a trans person being a fucking violent, nihilistic extremist. What a ridiculous blanket statement across an entire group of people. And you know what's insane is statistically, overwhelmingly, the low statistical amount of trans people who regret undergoing gender affirming care, however that looks, the amount that regret it, i.e., the amount that report living a happier, healthier life and being more functional and contributing more to society, statistically is stronger than fucking people getting hip surgeries and knee replacements. And you want to call them a nihilistic threat. These people who are happier now, it's fucked. The conversation about trans people is fucked. It's fucked. Because it's people whose idea of trans people is through Reddit and through communing with other people who have never met a trans person in their life, who has this vague, cartoonish, fucking made-up idea about them. It is wild. And God, like my heart goes out to every trans person in America. Fuck, your country is sliding into fascism. And like what little sympathy there is for trans people is harrowing. Like the amount of, I have people in my life that do this who are so obsessed with the idea of maintaining this centrism. Like I have people in my life who so desperately need to be seen as a mediator to everything and as like the sensible middle guy to everything that they don't even realize that they continue to get pulled rightward into this fucking extreme Overton window that is sliding to the right. And because you are so obsessed with being in the middle, you are so obsessed with being the fair guy who gives credit to all sides at all times, just so you can keep up this appearance that you are the most sensible one, because you don't feel too strongly about one thing, and that's what makes you the most logical, that you don't even fucking realize that you're giving credit to violent rhetoric and to the people who are eager to categorize me on your crazy left side of the spectrum, these insane people over here that maybe they're right about a couple of things, these violent nihilistic extremists, maybe you're right about a couple of things. Like, no. Go fuck yourself. For you to listen to both sides and be like, okay, I have to give a thumbs up to exactly 3 things on both of your sides. Otherwise, I'm not a virtue of fairness. No, you're a virtue of gullibility. And of self-preservation, egotistical self-preservation at the cost of human fucking rights. Really. And like, as a Canadian, I should get back to the comedy, but as a Canadian who is in the late stages of my work visa being being assessed. It's like, I really hope they do comb through all of my stuff in the context of what trans people are currently being labeled by the FBI as, so that you have to come face to face with the reality that people like me are just trying to get by. People like me are just trying to find their own personal piece of happiness and autonomy. Freedom. Heard of it? People like me are just exercising their freedom to self-deliberate. Heard of it? Freedom. I'm going to say the word again, freedom, because I know it gives you a boner every time you hear it. Which maybe I shouldn't say freedom so much, because with all the blood going to your erection, it's leaving your head. And you can't probably think about how trans people are fucking human beings too. And we're not by default nihilists. Fucking crazy, man. Crazy, dog. I won't say the F word anymore. Because I know that it's going to give whatever FBI agent is watching these a big, fat chubaholic. Anyways, I'm peaceful, man. Let me go into your country and tell jokes before you criminalize me. Please. Approve me real quick, just so I can go to New York and tell a couple jokes and then go home back to safety. I'm kidding. If that isn't already clear, I'm kidding. This is not me criticizing your government. This is me being silly and facetious, and I should have put that as a disclaimer off the top. But there it is. That's it. This is just me joking around. If you want, I'll detransition. Then I'll really show you what nihilism is. It's so funny being called a nihilist in retrospect of who I was that made me transition. You know what I mean? That is crazy talk to me. Being called a nihilist right now, the person that I am right now, being called a nihilist in comparison to the person I was 7 years ago before I came out. Hilarious. You really want to see what nihilism is? Go back and look at some pictures from 2016 of dead-eyed Al Val just crying inside. Yeah. Anyone who's a fan of mine will tell you I'm the furthest thing from a nihilist. God damn. I am the silver lining. I am the... Not toxic positivity. I wouldn't say that of myself. I'm proud of myself for my not toxic positivity. I acknowledge things as they are. Shitty as they are sometimes. I acknowledge that, and I'm careful to acknowledge that. But my form of positivity is rooted in optimism. The what next of it all. To acknowledge things as they are, shitty as they may be, but to not let it defeat me. And to say that better days are coming, and to keep trying. And better days are coming for us all. I hope. By the way, now might be a good time to announce that this microphone isn't even on. Wee! Yep. For 35 minutes, I've been talking into this prop. Look at this. Where is it? I can't even see in the dark. This is a Rock Band microphone, bitch. From the video game Rock Band. Look at that. Not even plugged in. I've got my actual mic sitting right here, just outside a screenshot. I've turned up the sensitivity so I can kick back and stick my leg up. This is how we're going to do it, real casual style. And then I wanted to bring this in because it's fun and it makes me feel like I'm doing stand-up again. Even though I was not doing a lot of jokes there for a while. but a girl's got a rant. God, it is. I'll be honest, I've been really struggling to be funny for a myriad of reasons, of course, given the frenzied political climate that is currently happening, and also given the current status of my work visa, and also given the scrutiny that trans people have. I don't want to be misinterpreted as saying the wrong thing. And anything that I may make light of currently, I think I just want to be silly. That's all I want to do. I just want to be a silly girl. That's all. So I just want to be, I'm being good. Yep. I'm being good. And I'm always good. That's what Osama been saying. Osama been saying I've been really good. And that's not that's not subliminal messaging. That is a long-standing joke. I swear to God, go back and listen to enough episodes. You will surely hear me say Osama bin something. It's a running gag. It is purely a silly wordplay thing. Do not read too much into it. I swear to God, it's not a nihilistic thing. It's a wordplay thing. Okay? Okay, FBI? Okay? Oh, God. This is water. This is water in my jug. I'm hydrating because it's nihilistic to not hydrate. And hydrating, water is life. And that's me. And I encourage you guys to drink water. Episode 2 was, oh my God. Episode 2 / episode 1, really. It's called Drink Water, I believe. And go ahead and go back and have a listen. I believe it's the first one. And it's just basically me. Who else would it be? It's me making a plea to my audience to, whenever you feel a negative comment coming along, whenever you feel like being a dick or an asshole to anybody, instead, just drink some water. Hey, drink water. I believe that's what it was. You'll never get me to listen to an old episode of PodGis. I know. I've realized there's so many episodes where I'm like, oh, I'm going to remember this forever. This is hilarious. And this is a new running gag. And I can't wait to do this every single time. And every single time I forget. And every single time I do an episode where I'm like, okay, next episode I will come back and I will follow up with this and have more information for you. I think maybe I've succeeded in following up appropriately maybe 1 in 10 times. So, but I know me enough, and I know my vibe enough, and I know my POV enough to know that if you were to comb through every syllable of PodGis, you would find no nihilism. You would only find hope and positivity. Maybe sometimes I get down, but that's life, baby. And that is the better part. That's the best part of it, is that I'm real about what gets me down, but I still try to find some hopeful messaging at the end of it. Props. Ding. See, I can do that to this mic and nothing will happen. Clank, 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 clank. I did Zoom comedy with this thing back before I bought this other microphone. It was part of my shtick. If you guys want to see what I would do, I would say, I would talk for a bit, and then I would basically be like, yeah, how nuts is this? You guys, we're just all making it up as we go along. This is all stupid. This is bullshit. Look, this thing isn't even on. And I would do the routine, and I would be like, see, it's a rock band mic. Whoop. And I would show people. I'd be like, this is just, I could talk into the bottom end like this. How much is this going to piss the OCDers off? Look, I'm talking into the wrong side of a microphone. Anybody with OCD? Anybody tuning out? Anybody pissed? Look, it's a mustache now. Ha ha ha. See, I would just do prop work. Because that is what Zoom comedy deserved. That's exactly what Zoom comedy deserved. It was prop work. Man, Zoom comedy was tough, dog. Really challenged my abilities as a stand-up comic. Hey, remember when I Remember when I said at the beginning that there were bugs in my oven? That part was true. I don't know what I'm supposed to do about that. I'm trying to kill them when they come out. Today I used my oven for the first time since I moved in. And it looks a little beat up, but it was clean. Otherwise, it looks new enough. And so I turned it on because I wanted to make a thing. I wanted to make a bit of garlic bread, a little garlic loaf for Ava Guess. And then, to my surprise, when I stepped away and came back, there were two little buggies crawling around. And every once in a while, when I go into the kitchen, I see another bug crawling around on the stove top. And it's like, they didn't tell me that there were bugs living here when I moved in. I know a lot of people are going to give me advice to be like, you should write something to the management and tell them. And it's like, no. No. I don't want to do that. That's just more stuff. You know? I already resent my to-do list. I don't want to do more. That's just more stuff. Until the bug situation gets really bad, and until I find one in a plate, it's fine. That's just more stuff to do. I don't want to do it. If I had a boyfriend, or a partner, or a girlfriend or a partner, if I had a partner, that would be partner duty. I'll be honest, there is so much that I would be such a good girlfriend about. Let me tell you, it would be a lighthearted experience. We would have joy. Joy would abound at all times. And you would, listen, let me pitch real quick. If you were to date me, there would be joy. It would be joyous. And there would be so many moments where I would do something and you would look over and you would be like, oh, maybe not out loud, but in your head you would be like, God damn, she is so friggin' cute. That's what you would do. If you dated me, there would be so many silent, God, she's so cute moments. Guarantee it. Whoop, microphone. Also, by the way, microphone styles. This is how I hold it. I know I've been told that's not good. I know sound engineers are like, never ever hold the mic at the base where the cord meets the microphone. But this is Ava Guess style. This is the way I've done it since the beginning. Because, for a number of reasons. Because if you hold it like this, that just looks too formal. This is too formal for stand-up. Holding it by the shaft. Like, I guess, holding it like tightly like this with a clenched fist. Holding the full shaft, even without a clenched fist. Holding full shaft like this is it's still too formal. Still too normal, too formal. Holding it maybe at the top like this. It's like, what am I, a dope MC? No, I'm not trying to be a dope MC. Especially with the fingers up. Give that back to rap. Don't take that from rap. That's appropriation. Look, you won't hear me yelling a lot about appropriation, but I will say there's appropriation across genres. And this is rap appropriation in comedy. Don't like it. And furthermore, the higher you go up the microphone, the more of your face you're covering. Now you're covering your mouth. Which is why somebody like me, who's big energy, big faces, I need my face completely unobscured, which is why my hand sits as far away. So this is like calculated, let me tell you. It's like unconscious, yes, but subconscious, I would say, because it happens, it's just happened naturally. This is where my hand is always gone. And I believe it's because subconsciously I understand that I need you to see my face. I want my hand as far away from my face as possible. And furthermore, it's also become part of my physical energy in my delivery to wiggle a little bit. Like when I talk into the mic, it's the fact that I'm still pointing the important part, the sound, the input. I'm still pointing it at my face, but my hand swings around. It adds a dynamism to it. And when I talk like this and when I do a microphone wobble like this, I holding it at the bottom gives you that pencil effect. You know, when people hold a pencil in the middle and they wobble it and waggle it, and then your eyes, the frame rate of your eyes kind of makes it look like it's made of rubber, that it's like bending, like kind of like that. It makes the microphone rubbery when I talk like this and I give it a wiggle, you know? Anyways, that's microphone strategies with Ava Val. That just remind me, I'm teaching my first stand-up course this Thursday, and it's lesson number 1. And I got to come up with a lesson plan. I have a curriculum, but I got to come up with a lesson plan, and I'm super excited about that. That's going to be really fun. I've always, listen, early on in stand-up, and for a long time, see, there's that dinging again. You guys hear that shit? I don't know. Early on in stand-up, I believed thoroughly that there's no teaching stand-up. You can't learn it in a class, baby. You got to go up and you got to do it. And I still very, very much subscribe to that belief. Don't get me wrong. That is rule number 1. And that is what I will say to this class. First thing that I get up there is I'm going to say, listen, I can teach you a lot of methods. I can guide you over the course of this semester. We're going to come in. We're going to keep workshopping your sets. I'm going to give you notes. I'm going to try and guide your way of thinking in a way that is consistent with your voice. I'm working hands-on with these kids. I'm going to call them kids because they're little babies to me. And I'm going to basically, I'm kind of teaching them how to do stand-up by being hands-on with their sets and workshopping their sets with them. And so, while I may be a helper, I am going to be firm and clear with them when I say, you may learn a lot of stuff in this class, but the real learning happens for free out there on stage. You got to keep going up. You got to get your teeth kicked in. You need to embrace bombing because it's going to happen. It's an inevitability. However, this is the thing. Most people who take a stand-up course are kind of only doing it out of a novelty interest, you know? There may be exceptions, of course. But in general, nobody really takes a stand-up course unless they're like, I just want to try it. I want to feel confident before I go up the first time. I want to feel like I'm in safe hands. And if that's what you're paying for, that confidence, then I can give you that. But you're going to learn you're going to learn how to do it by doing it. But that said, so that's the thing is I used to be one of those hardcore people who was like, stand-up courses are a waste of money. You're wasting your money. Can't learn it in a classroom. This shit isn't taught in a classroom. And my view has added a layer of nuance where if there is a demand, if there are people out there who would never otherwise jump on stage, who would be too afraid to do so, people who would never do stand-up at all, if it wasn't for some kind of a course that walked them through writing a set and joke craft, etc., then I am proud to provide these people the confidence and the opportunity to craft a set that they can be confident in and prepared for. And then, they do a show at the end of the semester. So there you go. You get to put it on its feet. And if there are people who would see value in something like that, then my view has shifted to accommodate them. And I think there is definitely value in teaching stand-up. Now, does that make me a sellout? Does that make me a sellout? No. I don't think so. No. No, because, I've given you my wisdom about stand-up and how you learn it. And that's the wisdom that I'll give these people. But should they want to proceed, which I'm sure they will, then I will give them my best. Nothing short of my best. I'll give them my attention. I will give them my careful consideration for each one of their perspectives. That's the thing. I substituted in for a stand-up class. There was a friend of mine was teaching an introductory stand-up class. The class that I'm teaching is level 2. So it's people who want to dive a little deeper, and I'm going to teach them how to tell a story and maybe how to be vulnerable even. But I did sub in for one class. I subbed in for one class for a friend, and I was really proud of how I did. Everybody came in with this homework that they'd completed, and I did kind of fuck with the teacher's point of that class because I didn't necessarily agree with the direction that she was trying to take these students in as far as storytelling goes. Basically, students had to come in with a story that happened to them that they thought was funny, a story that happened to somebody they knew that they thought was funny, and a story that they just made up just to be funny. And and then the directive was to pick whichever one. The class would vote on whichever premise they thought was the best, and then they would read, each student would pitch the premise, and then the class would pick one of them, and then that student would have to do the stand-up set that they prepared from that perspective. And I opened by saying, I'm a believer in the best writing, the best from your perspective as a stand-up comedian and a writer and a performer. And I'm not speaking for all comedians because there are a lot of absurdist ones. There are a lot of different styles out there. Absolutely. But for most comedians, speaking from a place of experience and honesty is the easiest way to write. And especially when you're taking an intro to stand-up, just write what you know. Start from a place of experience, write what you know, write what has happened to you that you think is funny. Come prepared with stuff that you think is funny, because that fundamentally is the number one rule of stand-up. Do what you think is funny and entertaining to you, and then through hard work and experience and reps, you learn how to translate what's funny to you to what's funny to a room full of people. So anyways, I kind of threw out some of the directives of the lesson plan, and I was like, listen, I'll tell you guys, you can do, the class isn't going to choose for you. And I'll let you pick whichever bit you want to do, because it would be unfair to do your least favorite of the 3. That's not what we're here to do. Pick your favorite. Pick the one you're most confident in. And I encourage you to maybe give special consideration to the one that you wrote about your own experience. Not to push them in any particular direction too much, but whichever one resonates with you the most. And sure enough, almost all of them picked the one that happened to them. Because they were That was the easiest to write. I asked them all, what was the hardest? And they were like, the makeup one. And of course, try and make up a story out of thin air that isn't based or draws inspiration from anything that happened to you. Even if you were to tell a story completely fabricated from your head, you're probably somewhere in your brain drawing inspiration from shit that you have observed, that you have seen, characters that you remember, locations that come to mind from your past. You know what I mean? So, I forget where I was going with this. This podcast may not have been the most but welcome to Casa de Bell. We're gonna rob a bank. It was still fun to reconnect, and a lot of my episodes have just been, in the past, have just been me kind of journaling, you know? That's all it always was. But I'm gonna call it here-ish, because I blabbed. Blabgus. I'm getting really hot, so I'm gonna take a second to chuck more ice into this. I'm gonna turn off all the lights in here, and I'm gonna lay in the darkness and think my most nihilistic thoughts and just indulge the nihilism that comes so naturally to me as a trans person. I'm just gonna wallow in my nihilism. That is my default state. Just because the FBI thinks that's how I exist on a daily basis. Whoops, guess I'm a nihilist now. So I didn't realize all this time I was a nihilist. I didn't realize all this time all the estrogen that I shoot into my ass makes me a nihilistic, violent extremist. Huh. Tell that to the grand total of 0 physical fights I've been in my life. How about all that stochastic terrorism I've been doing online? Me. Okay, anyways. Yeah, I'm gonna turn off the lights and just think my most nihilistic thoughts now. No, JK. If you want more, we're gonna go over to my Patreon. We're gonna have silly goose time. I'm gonna turn off all the lights, have a nihilistic moment, get it out of my system, and then I'm gonna do another little bit for my Patreoners because it's been a minute, and it is what you deserve, my Patreoners. Yes, yes, yes. Mwah! I love you. Thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you in a minute. Okay? Go over to my Patreon and subscribe if you want more. Okay? Good to see you guys. Good to be back. I'll try to... I can't make this a semi-regular thing. I don't know. Baby. We'll see. I do need to change something because the lighting, I don't know, the resolution, the look of this is cheap. But I'm in Canada, man. Okay? Everything's so expensive here. I live in Toronto. Okay? It's too expensive. My life. Everything costs so much money. Please help. Please help. Please help. Please. Please help. Please help. Please help. Please clap. Oh, I can't help it. Please clap. Okay, see you at Patreon. Bye.